Well, I mean, with that, let's talk about expertise and some of the natural skill sets, not just the natural skill sets, but the things that we pick up on the corporate side. I know one of the other things that we talked about was the transition of what goes over well on the corporate side is not necessarily what goes over well on the entrepreneurial side. Like you have to understand the differences. I joked where I said, you know what, I used to get paid really well for being able to see miles and miles down the road and be able to point out, like, okay, based on what you want to be able to do, here's all the things that you need to be able to watch out for. And then once I got to the entrepreneurial side, it goes back to what you were saying. Sometimes you have to solve that immediate problem first
Yeah.
because they can't see everything else because they're so overwhelmed and so focused on that one thing. So let's talk about what it looks like to try to transition that expertise from the corporate side or the professional world over to the entrepreneurial side because it's a different sales process.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. So I unfortunately I had this experience. So I am truly an entrepreneur. I
Mm,
fought it for a very long time before I finally decided to, you know, I tried to dance in both corporate America and entrepreneurship,
mm,
and and then finally, I decided, because I was successful in corporate, was having less success in entrepreneurship because I was doing it part time. And I just had this epiphany of what if I dedicated as much time to the entrepreneurial side as I did to the corporate side? If I'm having this level of success in the corporate side, what level of success could I have on the entrepreneurial side? And when I made that switch, the very first thing I did was the most successful thing I had ever done to that point in my career. And
wow.
every venture has been bigger than the last.
Mm,
I actually had an experience in my last corporate opportunity where I had accomplished something no one else had ever accomplished in the
mm,
organization, and I got asked to show everyone how I did what I did, and so I did a presentation, and I gave a presentation on game theory because I had actually
okay.
used uh,
Okay.
to do what I did, and so at the end, the boss's boss pulled me aside and said, "You need to start looking for another job," and I was confused. And I said, "What did I do wrong?" And his answer was, "You didn't do anything wrong. You did everything right." He said, "But let me
Yeah.
tell you what you just did based on my observation of everyone in the room when you're presenting." He said, "You just set the bar so high no one can get to it, much less get over it." He said, "What's going to happen in your career from this point on is people are going to collude to undermine your career because every time they step foot
Yes.
in the office and look at you, they see what they can never become."
Yes.
And I was upset
Oh, I
initially,
love that.
but the
Oh,
more
I
I
love
thought
that.
about it, um, what came to me was this thought of, and this is how I frame it for entrepreneurs. I'm like, the things that make you, that the things that get you ostracized in a corporate environment are the exact same things that will make you wildly successful in entrepreneurship. So
Love it.
when I transport myself back to that corporate environment, because I'm truly an entrepreneur, the way my mind works, and you got to remember, and particularly, I'm talking Fortune 500 organizations,
Mhm.
they've figured most of everything out, right? So they
Yeah.
have their processes, they're making lots of money. And so in their mind, everything is working the way we want it to work. We're doing well. But if someone like me comes in and says, while I see everything's working well, it's not working as best as it could. And so
Efficiently, yeah.
break it down and make it better. It's like, oh no, 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 no. We don't want that kind of input, right? We just want things to continue to roll along the way they always have. And, we don't need anyone breaking anything, and so you get ostracized when you think the way I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And again, it because this has happened to me in every corporate stop I had along the way. I had pretty much the same thing happen to me. It's just that this last opportunity, someone actually explained to me what was happening to me,
Said the
along
quiet part out loud.
right,
Yes.
right. And so, and again, then it was I figured out, oh my God, I need to be in an environment where I don't report to anyone, right? So that I can meet a customer or a prospective customer, I can see a problem that they have. I can help them architect a solution, and we can continue to refine the solution that I architect so that it continually becomes a better tool for them and continues to solve their problem in a better way
Mhm.
day in and day out, indefinitely or as long as I'm tied to them. Again, what makes you thrive in entrepreneurship? That's what customers are looking for,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But organizations that where everything's kind of clicking on all cylinders from their perspective and they're making lots of money, it's like I don't want anyone breaking this. It's like because I have a fear of if I'm making billions of dollars, doing it the way I'm doing, and you break something, you know, what if you fail?
Yeah.
Now I've gone from making billions of dollars doing something to maybe nothing. I'm making nothing, and I don't want to take that's too big of a risk, right?
Mhm.
Whereas in the entrepreneurial environment, you don't have that. We have something. The only thing it's just causing us pain right now. So,
Yeah.
so we want a solution. Well, if your solution takes away our pain and ensure our pain never resurfaces, indefinitely, we love you.
I love it because 'cause you're telling my story.
Yeah,
What you described is a disruptor, and a disruptor is someone that when you say there's a better way to be able to do something, it doesn't just cost them customers, it costs them the system that's in
mm,
place.
yeah,
And if you're right, customers are something that you can replace. A system, when you can prove it to be flawed, it means that they have to break it down and
yeah,
rebuild it in a more efficient way. And especially if you get the audience or just the people in general that would invest in it to be able to see the same thing.
right,
So
right,
yes,
yeah,
yes. As someone that has always had that entrepreneurial mind, in
yeah,
some cases it can be a blessing, in some cases it can be a curse
right,
on the corporate side. I love that you shared the story the way that you did because that is the quiet part out loud.
yeah,
And as much as we're talking about just all the different things that happen, there's someone out there that is in that experience and that is saying, why do I keep running into this situation? And they were never able to name it. And
yeah,
that's what it is. Like when you see things and you're able to see it in a way that they don't want you to be able to see it, because if you do, then it means that they actually have to do something about it.
right,
And they like things the way that they are.
yeah,
And when you rock the boat in that way, and you're adamant enough about it, or you're able to articulate it in a way where now, again, it goes back to once you see it, you can't unsee it.
yeah,
That makes the people that felt like they were the smartest one in the room
right,
feel like they're not the smartest one in the room, and there's animosity that comes along with that. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
love that you put that out there because that's a real thing,
yeah,
and it's the quiet part that people don't say out loud. But
yeah,
now that people have heard someone articulate it, hopefully they'll see the signs in it because one of the things I say is once you see a sign, that's
mhm,
once. Once you see it more than once, then it's a pattern.
yeah,
You saw the pattern. I
yeah,
saw the pattern. We both got to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm going to stop bumping my head up against that wall.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I will also say I work for large companies and I work for smaller companies.
right,
Larger companies, there is a job for every person.
yeah,
They give you a very specific task.
mhm,
The
mhm,
moment you step outside that task, you're rocking the boat in ways that they don't want you to rock the boat. You're seeing
right,
things that like we're paying someone to think that thing that you just thought,
yeah,
and what you're basically telling us is we made a bad investment in that person.
right,
So either we have to get rid of them and give you that job, but if we give you that job, then you're not going to be able to do this job. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
this is what the thought process looks like when you're doing stuff like that. But then with the smaller companies, those are the ones where sometimes you can wear more than one hat and
yeah,
sometimes they actually reward it.
right,
But again, I think it inevitably, as you said, it comes to a point where you have to start thinking about when you hit that ceiling, when you get to the point where they're saying, you know what? No, no, we can't do that because if we do it the way that you want us to do it, then we put things at risk
right,
that we already know are working. And
yeah,
that's when you have to kind of take a step out.